Let's explore the 1998 comedy romance movie, There's Something About Mary. The movie begins in 1985 in Providence, Rhode Island, with a high schooler named Ted Strowman, played by BenStiller. Ted is a geeky kid that fantasizes about getting up with his dream girl. His dream girl is Mary Jensen, played by CameronDiaz. And she is the apple of Ted's eye, and he would want to do nothing less but ask her out on prom, but he's heard and he knows that she supposedly is going out on prom with some other dude, some popular athlete from another school. So that's a no for him. So with Mary being unavailable for prom, Ted proceeds to ask other girls at the school out to prom, and he was rejected by them. Mary's intellectually disabled brother, Warren, became the subject of a crude prank by some of the high schoolers there. And it wasn't really funny. They had him do something or go over and say something that was that he didn't know no better. Go over there and say something that was kind of viewed as disrespectful to the girl over there, which was a crude prank that they shouldn't have did and played him like that. And this causes the guy to be a jerk. And you see Ted, he's going to stand up for him. Ted comes in and stands up for him. He gives a little resistance. And the guy gets rid of him as well. So yeah, but he did defend him. Ted did stand up for Warren there. And there go Mary. Yeah. By the way, Warren is played by actor W. Earl Brown. After Ted stood up for Warren, he was asked to walk them home. Basically, after the incident, walk them home from school. Basically, walked home to school with Mary and her brother Warren. And Ted actually went on to bond with both of them as well, Mary and her brother Warren, and really got along with with Mary's brother Warren a lot. He really kind of bonded with him, and Mary was very appreciative of this, and it warmed her heart to see someone like Ted interacting with her intellectually disabled brother. And that earned Ted major cool points. Mary was so impressed with Ted's genuineness and his interaction with her brother that she even asked Ted out to prom. She asked Ted to be her prom date. Of course, Ted accepted. I mean, this is the date of a lifetime for him, his dream girl. So yeah, of course, excitedly, he accepted. On his arrival to pick up Mary for prom, Ted meets Mary's mother, played by Marky Post, and her stepfather, played by none other than Keith David. While using the washroom at their house, Ted was looking at the birds outside the window. And then the birds quickly disappeared. And it had Ted looking like a straight creep. As in another room of the house, there was Mary semi-undressed with her mother in another room, and it looked like Ted was a peeping Tom. And then Ted quickly did this. Zipped his meat in his pants. Soon, with his strings and all, he had conjured up a small tribe to join him in the washroom. The police officer came up with the bright idea of just unzipping his pants from his meat. And it didn't end well. Needless to say, Ted didn't make it to prom. "13 years later, he was still traumatized," as he relates to his therapist. After 13 years, he was still in love with Mary, too. So he was convinced by his friend, Dom Wuganowski, played by Chris Elliott, to hire a private investigator to find Mary. Ted would hire private investigator Pat Healy, played by actor MattDillon. In Pat Healy's initial research, he uncovered that Mary now resides in Miami, Florida. With that, he headed to Miami and found Mary and conducted surveillance on Mary. During his surveillance of Mary, Pat Healy himself became infatuated with Mary as well. While reporting back to Ted about what he found about Mary, Pat Healy made Mary appear to be the most undesirable woman. He lied, basically. He lied to Ted and made Mary appear to be the most undesirable woman on the planet. With that, Pat Healy quickly closes his office in Rhode Island. As Pat Healy was headed to Miami to open up his new office, he was approached by Ted, who wanted to know if he had any contact information for Mary, because what he said to Pat Healy was, despite all the challenges Mary may be going through, per Pat Healy, he still wanted to look her up, because she might need his help and need his assistance. So he was showing his good guidance right here, that despite what Pat Healy had said about her or made her out to be, he still wanted to look her up, because that's just how much Ted cared. Pat Healy basically dismissed Ted's request and told him that he didn't have that information, no contact information for Mary at that moment. As Ted was telling his friend chiropractor, Dr. Bob, played by Willie Garson, about the info that Pat Healy had relayed to him about Mary, Dr. Bob told Ted that Mary is actually doing real well, that she is a surgeon and she is fine and very attractive and she's just hot. And at that moment, that's when Ted realized that Pat Healy was a big liar. With that news, Ted decides to go to Miami himself. In the meantime, Pat Healy was down in Miami, using eavesdropping techniques and any other underhanded tactics he could use to find out anything and everything he can about Mary, her likes, her interests, etc. The reason was simple. So he could align his fabricated likes and interests to Mary's, so he could trick her into feeling something for him. Pat Healy proceeded to get on board with many of Mary's activities, play on her vulnerabilities, and model himself as her ideal man, an architect. Eventually accomplishing his goal of making Mary feel something for him. He almost fumbled though. When headed to her place to pick her up for their first date, at her place, which she shared with her roommate Magda, played by Lynn Shay. Magda was eccentric with a love for suntanning, and she also had a dog named Puffy. Magda told Mary that her Puffy would be able to sense if Pat Healy was a good guy or not. With the surveil and eavesdropping equipment that Pat Healy had in place, he was aware of that conversation about Puffy, and he kind of feared that Puffy would expose him as well. So Pat Healy, with his win at every cost bravado, decided to drug Puffy prior to him making it to Mary's apartment. The one thing and the only thing, though, he may have overdid it with Puffy, though. As when he arrived officially at the apartment, Puffy seems like he's very calm, and as you see, Pat Healy has him all in his hand, all in his arms, all comfortable, and Puffy seems so very comfortable with Pat Healy, and this impresses Mary as well as Magda. They're very impressed. So, yeah. So, initially it seems to work for Mr. Pat Healy with his tricks. And, him drugging the dog seems to be working for him right now. And look how they just drawn in by Pat Healy. He has that slick type of vibe to him, and he's drawing them in. Now as Mary and Magda go to the kitchen to get them some refreshments and get something for Mr. Pat Healy, he notices that the dog Puppy is not moving, and the dog may have may have left us. And this comes from, it's like a really funny moment as Pat Healy races and frantically and just tries to revive him. So yeah, it looked like he overdid it, and he is frantically trying to get him. He's trying to restore Puffy. And Magda and Mary are so unaware in the kitchen. They're unaware of what's going on in there, but there's a whole catastrophe going on in the living room there. So yeah. And you see Pat Healy, he's trying everything and anything to revive Puffy. Very funny scene. Very funny scene. He's gonna do anything and everything. And he set the dog on fire. trying to revive him. Yep, there he goes. He got him now. He got him. And this really took the heart of Magda and Mary right here. Cause he's wet. The dog is wet, so of course he's gonna have him wrapped in a blanket now. But yeah, they looked at it as a real sweet thing. Pat Healy meets Mary's friend Tucker, who is an architect as well. And Tucker is instantly skeptical of Pat Healy and his story of being an architect. Ted arrives in Miami, accompanied by his friend Dom. Ted runs into Mary and suggests that she cancels her date with Pat Healy later that night and kick it with him. Mary, for her part, was down with that idea. She was down to kick it with Ted. Tucker, played by Lee Evans, goes on to present Mary with a murder rap sheet of Pat Healy, which he had fabricated or made himself. He made it up, like a falsified report of Pat Healy's murder and crime spree, or murder charges and all this. Like it was a rap sheet that he had created himself. Before his big date with Mary, Ted decides to unload the quote-unquote gun. Unable to locate the residue, it presents itself in the most unlikely of places. Mary, thinking it's hair gel, put it in her hair, and it added some immediate stiffness. Strands of her hair actually stood at attention for a portion of the beginning of their date. Her hair eventually relaxed, and they went on to have a great, genuine time together on their date. Pat Healy, furious with Tucker painting him out to be some serial killer, confronts him and finds out that Tucker is actually a fraud too. He was not an architect. He was a pizza delivery boy. His actual name was Norm and not Tucker. And also, he was in love with Mary too. Both being aware that Ted is now in the picture, they collaborate to remove Ted from the picture. And one of the first things they wanted to do was drug up Puffy the dog with speed. But some of the speed they threw through the window accidentally got in Magda's glass as well. When Ted and Mary return to Mary's apartment after their successful date, they find Magda extra hyped up, lifting the whole entire couch with one hand. Also, per Magda, she locked Puffy in the bathroom because he was acting erratically. Mary, who was tending to Magda, asked Ted if he could let Puffy out the bathroom. Seeing the door rumbling and rattling and bumping, Ted begins to get a little worried about opening that door. And he inquires to Mary about what kind of dog is Puffy. Because he was believing that might have been a big dog from the noise and the ruckus that he was causing. But Mary and Magda assured him that he was a small little dog. A small dog on speed can be a problem, as we see. Oh, whoa. From that jump out the window, Puffy, fortunately, was still alive, although he had on a full body cast. A mysterious letter reaches Mary, detailing how Ted hired a private investigator to follow her. And basically, Mary wasn't happy at all. Ted tried to explain himself, and he tried to apologize, but Mary wasn't hearing it, and she basically told him to exit stage left. Ted found out where Pat Healy was staying and went there to confront him about several things. But in the moment he was confronting him about the mysterious letter that Mary received, Ted was believing that Pat Healy had sent it, and Pat Healy knew nothing about that letter. Norm, aka Tucker, was with Pat Healy when Ted arrived. And Pat Healy instantly looked at Norm as the person who wrote that mysterious letter and sent it to Mary. But Norm, aka Tucker, denied those allegations. He said he didn't do them. He didn't send that letter. He might have did other dirty stuff, but he didn't write that letter and send it to Mary about Ted hiring a private investigator to check on her. So while these three try to find some solace in their disagreements, Mary was being accosted by an ex-boyfriend named Woogie, who she had to take out a restraining order against. Hearing the verbal exchange from the tap Pat Healy had on Mary's apartment, Pat Healy and Norm rushed to Mary's rescue and find Woogie trying to steal Mary's shoes. A few minutes later, Ted also shows up at Mary's apartment. Ted, who had heard the name Woogie previously, was shocked to find out that Woogie was his friend Dom. And Dom was a ex-boyfriend of Mary. And actually, that Dom, aka Woogie, was still in love with Mary. Mary, first time seeing Tucker without crutches, questioned him about where is his crutches and what's going on. And Tucker, aka Norm, went on to tell her that his actual name is Norm and that he doesn't need crutches. So basically, he gave her a fake image of who he was. And Mary was crushed by this. She didn't know what to think. And he let her know that he loved her, that he did all that because he was in love with her and loved being around her. So Mary is all confused now. Under urging, Norm also told Mary that he lied and falsified the murder rap sheet on Pat Healy. In comes Brett, NFL quarterback and Green Bay Packer legend Brett Favre, who was a former boyfriend of Mary's and one who she seriously considered marrying, but was put off by him and broke up with him when she learned that he supposedly said that he would be interested in marrying her if she didn't have her brother Warren. But Ted stepped in to clear that up, letting Mary know that her friend that she knew as Tucker had lied about this also. Her friend Tucker had told her that Brett would have been more serious about marrying her if Warren was not in her life, but that was actually a lie, and that Brett actually loves Warren, and he loves that Warren is in Mary's life, and so on and so forth. And Ted went on to say to Mary that Brett is the man for you. Brett and you should be together. So he bowed down like a good man, and he apparently just was tossing off to what he felt was the better man for her. Although Ted said those kind words about Brett being the best choice for Mary, he was boogers, not tears, when he got outside. But Mary came out chasing Ted. She came out chasing him. She stopped him. And she ran to him, and he ran to her. And then she pulled a left on him. You left your keys. And he is devastated. He thought it was coming in for the love kiss. look how he's looking at the keys. But yeah. But they continued to talk, and she let him know, did he mean what he said in there and all that? And she let him know that it was her. That she wanted him. that she wanted him. She didn't want Brett anymore. She wanted him. And he thought that she was playing with him at first, but she let him know that she wasn't playing. And he's coming in for his love now. He even asked about Brett Favre. And she said she told him when they first met she wasn't a Packers fan. And he knew that was his cue to go in there for it. And here he comes for it too.
I tend to go time and again, but you're late. I wait around then. I went to the door, I can't take any more without you. You let me down again. Baby, baby, try to find. But in time, I'll make you happy. I know I'll be beside you, waiting for you. Why do you build me up? But now, baby, just let me down. I mess me around and worst of all, never thought, baby, when you say you will. But I love you still, I need you. More than anyone, darling, you know that I have from the start. So build me up, but don't break my heart. I'm a toy, but I could be the ball you adore. And you just let me know. I do what I do, I'm attracted to you. What you want, what do I need so? Baby, baby, try to find a little time. I'll make you happy. I'll be beside you, waiting for you. Why do you build me up? But my baby, just to let me down. I mess me around and worst of all, never thought, baby, when you say you will. But I love you still, I need you. More than anyone, darling, know that I have from the start. So build me up, but don't break my heart.
The movie There's Something About Mary is an absolute delightful journey. If you have not checked out this movie, I suggest that you do. I almost guarantee that you'll be entertained in some way or another. I give it a thumbs up. And with that, I am going to end the video right here. Please feel free to like, share, and comment on this video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. After subscribing, please click on that little notification bell in order to be notified of any new uploads from this channel. Thank you all for your support. I truly appreciate it. I'm out on this one. Hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace! One love. Stay safe. Continue to be blessed.